Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Benchmade Mini Presidio 2 in CF Elite. This just came out, and I'm very happy they did this. As you guys know, I've already reviewed the large size version. I said I liked it. They said right from day one they were also going to be doing a mini. The CF Elite indicates what the scales are made out of. As I said in the original review of the full size, which you're going to see in a moment when we get to the size comparisons, I'll do a real more comparison between the two of them. I like the look of it. I think it looks very nice. It is still technically fancy plastic, but instead of fiberglass reinforced nylon, it is carbon fiber reinforced nylon. I think it looks really good. I think it looks a lot better than your average stuff. I think I mentioned before there was this material that was very popular in the bike industry for a while called thermoplastic. I think it kind of winds up looking like that. Looks a bit carbon fibery, still a hint, that it's FRN, but I really like it. It's very lightweight. It seems very durable. I have both Presidios now in it. I also have a bug out in the CF Elite. It looks a little bit better on the Presidio than it does in the bug out, but I just really like the look of it, and it seems to be a good durable material. Yes, and it is mini, as it indicates. It is smaller than the original. You're looking at a 3 1/4 inch blade instead of a 3 3/4 inch blade. Still fits the hands very well. Of course, we'll get into all that detail as we go. Price is very reasonable, much like the Presidio 2, this full size. I think I called it one of the biggest Benchmade bargains. This one is probably even more. This is $123.25, so not bad at all on the prices. Let's get some specs and size comparisons out of the way and get that comparison to the original out of the way as well. So we have an overall length of 7.5 inches, blade length of 3 1/4 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.11 inches, so a little bit thinner than the original. Handle thickness of 0.5 inches, also a little bit thinner. And a weight of just 3.2 ounces, so not too bad at all. I have to say the weight on it is pretty darn good. So let's do some size comparisons. We'll bring out some other Benchmades first. You have your full-size Benchmade Griptilian and a new addition that you'll be seeing in some size comparisons more often, the Mini Griptilian, which does not like to stand up properly. You can see it's kind of right between those. And we'll also replace that with the bug out as well, just to show the mini, or the full-size bug out, I'm sorry. Hard to get used to saying full-size bug out. So pretty much similar overall length to a full-size bug out, but obviously it's a much beefier knife. And now a couple of other standards before we get to comparing it more closely to the full-size Presidio. We have your Spyderco Paramilitary 2 and the Para 3. So again, you're looking at kind of right between those two. I'm trying to line the pivots up here. Just a hair larger than a Para 3. And then, get this out of the way so I can get to the other ones. And then we have your Ontario Rat Model 2 and the Rat Model 1. Again, kind of right between. But the thing that probably a lot of you want to know is what is the size difference compared to the full size if you are debating between the two, because they are very similar in price. You're only looking at a few bucks more for the large. Here is the full size. You can see it is quite a bit smaller. It's fairly dramatic, not as dramatic as the size difference as you see between, for example, I just happen to have them both sitting over here. So, the full size Hogue Ritter and the mini Hogue Ritter, it's a much more dramatic difference between these two than it is between these two, but there is still a pretty dramatic difference between the two. It still fits in the hand really well. I really liked the comfort of the full size. This one is still extremely comfortable. Weight difference is quite significant. In the weight difference, though, you were looking at 4.97 ounces for the full size versus 3.2 for this, so quite significant. Blade stock is also a little thinner. I do like it when companies do that, when they shrink a knife down instead of just making it shorter in one dimension. This is smaller in all the dimensions, so you got 0.11 inch blade stock versus 0.12, so it's not a dramatic difference. A little bit thinner behind the edge as well. You're looking at about 25 thousandths for the full size versus 22, 23 for the mini. So that's a big difference. But it's the weight and the handle thickness that really you feel the most, because this was 0.63 versus almost dead on 0.5 inches. So it makes this a lot easier to carry, and obviously, you know, it's just lighter. It doesn't give up a whole lot in comfort though. My full-size hands still fit on this completely fine. All right, let's put it aside and talk more about this knife by itself. So with that blade being a bit thinner, I never found the full size to be a terrible slicer by any stretch of the imagination. It was pretty darn good, and I actually think I commented for a big knife that's in the black class, which means it's for, you know, tactical and first responders and law enforcement and stuff like that is who it's marketed towards. I was happy that it had such a thin, slicey blade on it. This is just that, but a little bit more, and can't complain about that. It is a very good slicey blade. It has that usual Benchmade edge on it, which usually means, you know, it's not the most beautiful edge in the world, but they are a very sharp, kind of toothy working edge out of the box, and I have no issues with that. Slices excellently. Bust out some paper here. Have no problems with that whatsoever. Nope, totally missed that one. Yeah, very good slicer, no complaints. And also the, get all this paper out of the way. Come on. Of course, picks now to want to be staticky. Tip on it is pretty good. It's not going to look as, it's going to look a bit more dainty than it is because of this top swedge just from this view, but it does have a pretty good solid tip on it. It's definitely not a pry bar, but it is a pretty good tip. I wouldn't be worried about doing some actual work with. Ergonomically, I've already hinted at it, but it's excellent. I find the grip on these scales to be nigh on perfect. It's just that right amount of grip that for, again, this is a black class knife. For that kind of work, it gives you plenty of grip, but it's not going to destroy your pockets. It's not going to tear your hands up if you're not wearing gloves. On the old aluminum versions of this that preceded these CF Elite versions, it was a bit rough. It was the aluminum ridges were a bit extreme after a long time of use. I don't find that at all on this one. There is a good amount of jimping on it as well. I like the jimping up top. The jimping on the bottom could stand to be not quite as much as it is, but that's the tiniest of ergonomic complaints. No hot spots from the clip. It has the full-size deep carry clip on it. It's not using a bug-out clip. I kind of expected to see that on it, but it isn't. I do like the pocket clip. As far as the comfort goes, it's excellent, and you do have a good thicker place to land a finger if you want to choke up a bit. I like that when you have a top swedge like this, because if you have a top swedge and you want to move up here, it's a bit sharp. You know, it's just thin. It's not sharp. It's just a bit thin to really put your thumb on for a long time. I like having this spot here that you can really rest it on. So ergonomically, it is excellent. As far as the carry goes, bring out ye old Wranglers, and we will compare a little bit more to the full size as well here. But carries really well. They did the smart thing, and I'll show you in a moment, but you can see it completely disappears in the pocket. But they did the smart thing, and you can see this is right hand, left hand ambidextrous, which is always really nice. And where the pocket clip lands, there's a flat spot. So you're not having to go over top of all these sound effects, everybody. Over top of it when you're pulling out of your pocket. It just goes in and out. Slides in and out super easy, almost as if it was a thin scale, because the spot that it's actually landing on, a smooth scale, the spot that it's going in and out of is smooth. So it feels like that. It doesn't take up a lot of room in the pocket. Show you here. Not much at all. And I said in my review of the original one that the original one carries a lot smaller than it is. And it really does. It does not feel at all like this big of a knife in your pocket. Whereas this one carries even smaller, a significant amount lighter, and kind of, it's weird. This is a big knife that feels smaller than it is. This is a small knife that feels bigger than it is once you're actually using it. We'll touch more on that in the conclusion. But as far as the action goes, it's typical Benchmade. You know, it's really good. It's really smooth. I have no problems with it. This one has a tiny bit of lock stick, but it's nothing that I have enough Benchmade experience to know that's going to go away. It's nothing I'm going to take it apart and do anything with, because it's an access lock and they are a nightmare to take apart. So I do not want to take it apart. So I'm just going to let it go away on its own. I'll let it be. Let it live its life and just fade away. But But yeah, the action is excellent. So yeah, my overall conclusions, like I said, it's kind of funny. Like, this is a big knife that feels smaller. This is a small knife that feels bigger. And I initially had said, I thought, you know, when I got done reviewing this, I didn't really care that much about the small one anymore, because this carried small enough that I didn't care that much. But now that I got this one, I do really like it. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I kind of planned on, once I got this one, to sell one of them. And, I don't know. I don't know which one I would sell. I'm sure one day one of them's going to go down the road, but it may or may not be very soon, because I just can't decide. I like a whole lot about both of them. This is definitely a more EDC-able option, even though this does carry smaller. It's still, the weight of it's undeniable, things like that. But yeah, I'm a fan of the CF Elite. I'm a fan of the Presidio overall. I really like this blade shape. It's just a nice, simple kind of spear point blade. It's very, very useful. Yeah, this is, and it's a bargain, especially for a Benchmade S30V steel. I don't think I ever even mentioned the steel on it. I just kind of assume, you know, Benchmade, almost everything's S30V except the more expensive ones, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that. But yeah, S30V, the CF Elite scales, really good quality construction, you know, lightweight, easy to carry for 123. Yeah, I said the full size was the best bargain in the Benchmade lineup. This is equal to it, because, you know, you're just paying a few bucks more for a little bit bigger knife. So hope you guys have enjoyed this. Go check one of these out. They're pretty cool. They are in and out pretty good. They were just released, so they've been in and out already the first run, I believe, and there's a few more coming. But check them out. The Mini Presidio CF Elite. I've been Brian. Have a good one.